Hey guys, this is Fraser from Things About Tutoring, and today we're going to be looking at a 6-mark Paper 1 functions question. It's telling us to investigate these two functions, f of x equals 6x squared minus 12x plus 1, so this is a quadratic. And it's also telling us to look at g of x, which is minus x plus c, where c is a real number, so that means that this is a linear function. And c is like it's in a sense a variable, so we can change what it is. So find the range of f. So we know that f is a positive because the first term is positive. Means we know that f, it's always useful to have a little sketch for these kind of functions questions, in my opinion. Just make sure that they're accurate. It's gonna be in the form of something like this. Not sure if it has how many roots it has, but it's gonna be sort of going up. So what we have to do is we have to find the vertex, and there's multiple ways to do this. My favorite would be to complete the square. There's a couple ways to do this. So I would rewrite this as 6 of x squared minus 2x, and then plus 1 on the outside. Make sure your plus 1 is on the outside of the brackets. 6, and then x minus 1 squared, and then minus 1, like this, right? Because x squared minus 2x, the way you complete the square is you take x from this and half of the coefficient of this. So that will be minus 1 instead of minus 2. Square it, and then you minus this number squared. So just quick double check. X minus 1 squared minus 1, that's x squared minus 2x plus 1 minus 1, that's just x squared minus 2x. That's what we had before. And then adding 1 on the outside, and then now we just have to be careful with the brackets. So that's 6 of x minus 1 squared minus 6 plus 1, so that's 6 of x minus 1 squared minus 5. So that means that the vertex point is at 1 minus 5, so it's something like this. So that means that the range of f of x, so f of x is always greater than or equal to minus 5, right, because it's increasing. So that's the first part, that's part, so I should have labeled this is part A of finding the range. And now part B, it says, given that g of f of x is less than or equal to 0 for all x, determine the set of possible values for c. First of all, we have to find what g of f of x is. I mean, it's a composite function, so we just replace minus x with, so in the g of x, we just replace this x here with this whole thing here. That means it's going to be minus 6x squared minus 12x, and then what was it, plus 1, and then it was plus c, exactly. So this is g of f of x. So let's simplify this. So that's minus 6x squared plus 12x plus c minus 1. And it tells us that this is less than or equal to 0, right? For all x. Now, personally, I prefer when the leading term, so the highest term with the term with the highest power of x is positive. So I would just move everything over to this side. So that means that 0 is less than or equal to 6x squared minus 12x plus 1 minus c. And so we're trying to think about when this is true. Now, there's two ways this could be true. Either it just touches like this, so because again it's a positive quadratic, so it either touches it once or it doesn't touch it at all, right? Both of these cases, obviously if the graph was below, then it would be less than 0 at some point, so that's not true. So that means that the discriminant, we either have one solution or no solutions. That means the discriminant is less than or equal to 0, right? Because if it's equal to 0, then we have one solution, which is valid. And if it's less than 0, we have no solutions, which is also valid. So what's the discriminant? Well, the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac, right? Where b is the coefficient of the x term, a is the coefficient of the x squared term, and c is the constant term. Remember, notice how I've used capital letters, because I don't want to confuse this c with this c, because they're different. We want this less than or equal to 0. What's the coefficient of the b term? That is 12, so 12 squared minus 4. A is 6, and c is 1 minus c, less than or equal to 0. So then 12 squared is less than or equal to, I'm just moving this over, 24 1 minus c. Now, this is a paper 1 question, so that means that no calculators allowed, and you don't even need a calculator because 12 squared is just 12 times 12, less than or equal to 12 times 2, right? Because 24 is 12 times 2, so we can cancel these 12s, and we can divide by 2, so 6 is less than or equal to 1 minus c. Moving this over, c is less than or equal to minus 5, because I add c and then subtract 6. And so this is the values of c for which g of f of x is less than or equal to 0 for all x. Good at practice to sort of square off your answers, put them in a box just to be clear. Should do it here as well. Just to be clear about what your final answer is. Hopefully that was clear. This was a pretty difficult question. I had to have a good understanding of what the discriminant means. So yeah, hopefully this helped you guys. I'll be posting more of these videos. And if you're looking for more of the sort of conceptual understanding, going through these sort of topics in a longer form, sort of having more lesson-based rather than question-based sessions, then feel free to head over to ThinkSmart Tutoring. You can grab a tutor there, very flexible. You can pick how often you want lessons, how long they should be. So yeah, give it a go. I'll be making more of these videos soon, so see you guys there.